Hi, my name is Wendy Mayberry, and I'm here with a real life parent's guide to photography. Photography has changed so much in the past century since it was invented as an art form, or as a tool rather, and now it's in everybody's pocket. Everyone has a cell phone, a really fantastic camera, and of course, one of the things you want to record the most is your children's childhood, and that's completely in your hands now because a lot of big retail studios have gone out of business. And it used to be you could pay a little bit of money and get a pretty good picture of your kid, and now you have some options to go to a private photographer or learn how to do it yourself. And a lot of you have other things in your life and you can't really learn how to be a really amazing photographer, but you want to photograph your kid's childhood, and that leaves you in the question of what do I do? So I invented this channel, and I've turned my life's work into teaching people more about how to photograph the things that they love the most, which usually are their children and their family. But if you're in love with your car, I can talk to you about that too. Totally kidding. I have a long career in photography. I've been a photographer professionally for over 20 years. I got a degree in education and then a degree in photography. They don't really have photography schools anymore except online. Back then they did though, and you had to learn film and a big 4x5 camera with a hood that goes over your head. And I learned photography that way for years, worked with a bunch of celebrity photographers in New York and LA. And then I worked as an advertising photographer for a major photo retail chain inside big stores that you'd have heard of. But I don't think I'm supposed to tell you who they are, but you can figure it out. How's that for a hint? Anyway, so I've photographed commercial kids for a long, long time. I love parents. I love children. All of my jobs have been around kids. And then I had my own baby, and I got in a whole new way how hard it really is to want every single minute of your kid's life, but then managing that huge digital clutter that you create. So what is worth photographing? When do you photograph it? How do you manage them afterwards? So I've created a whole bunch of systems to help you unravel that puzzle, as well as created a way that if you give me your kid's birthday, I can even send you reminders of, hey, they're about to be 6 months old, and this is what you want to catch now, because 6 to 9 months is super smiley. Or at age 5, they start losing their baby teeth and getting adult teeth. So if you don't get some pictures now, their face changes forever. So just try to remind you in the busyness of life of when you need to photograph your kids, and then giving you tips on how to do that picture. And why it's so important to me is that if you've ever loved someone and lost them, you know, the only thing you get to keep is pictures. And as moms and dads, two things I want to touch on. One is that we always think it has to be perfect to take pictures. Like everyone gets really dressed up in clothes you never wear and matching outfits and go stand on a couch in a area in a field that you never visit. And that's great, but it's not real life. It's not what your kids remember when they think of their childhood. So I'm really focused on photographing things as they are, because your real life is great. Even though sometimes I think the internet makes you feel like it doesn't measure up to other people, or you're seeing everyone's highlight reel instead of their everyday life. Your everyday life is beautiful, it is magical, and it is what you have with your kids. And so when things aren't perfect, sometimes we don't take pictures, and you're missing time. One of those things that might happen is you may break up with your spouse or your partner, and now your child is in a single parent household. I'm a single mom, and some of my best friends are single parents, and I think oftentimes you think of perfect families have a mom and a dad, but the perfect family is the family in front of you. This is my grandmother, who was a single mom, a divorced mom. That's my dad. And this is a picture just outside their house. And I totally treasure it. I have it in a frame in my home. And it's a snapshot. It's a great snapshot. It's got even light. And she's looking at him and he's looking at the camera. And it's a great image. But it never would have happened if someone hadn't bothered to take that picture of my grandma, or his mom, my dad's mom. And I think a lot about, you need to get in the picture. You need to take pictures with your kids. They need to see that you love them. So now my grandmother has passed away. This is what we have. My dad is 70, and I still have this picture, and I love it. And it's a way for me to show my own son, hey, here's grandpa with his mom. That's the kind of family legacy we want to create today for your family and have you start thinking about. The second thing is that the way you see your kids can influence a lot on how you photograph them. And if you're setting them up to believe that life is magical and beautiful, wonderful, you can reflect that in your pictures, and you can make life more like that. So there's lots of reasons that I'm passionate about what I do. I've also been trained since I left that commercial photography job by major carriers or manufacturers of cell phones. So I've had training in Apple in Cupertino. I've had training with the Samsung headquarters in Dallas on how to best use your cell phone. So my mission is to help you, without buying any expensive equipment, to start seeing life more beautifully with your children with the camera you have on you, and giving you tips on how to organize that clutter so you don't lose things in the mix. You can create printed objects so the pixels don't die. Think about when you had a CD. There's no hole in your computer to even put that CD anymore. So you need to print. When do you print? How do you organize that? It can be really overwhelming. So I'm here to help solve that problem, and I'm excited to talk with you more. Thanks.